Lakeland, Florida. Middle of the state, middle of nowhere for most people, but for the Wiles family it was the centre of their world. They owned National Flight Services, an aircraft maintenance and charter company based out of Lakeland Linda Airport. It was a family-run operation, and like many family businesses, everything rested on the next generation. That next generation was Robert Wiles, a 26-year-old pilot and business development manager tipped to take over from his father. On April 2nd, 2008, the Wiles family was about to be pulled into one of the strangest extortion schemes Florida had ever seen. It all started with an email that no parent ever wants to read. The small airport where this all unfolded wasn't glamorous, more known for training flights and cargo than commercial travel. Thomas Wiles had built National Flight Services since 1972. It wasn't just a Florida operation. They had offices in Ohio, Texas, and even Canada. Tom's son, Robert, had grown up in Ohio, earned his pilot's license after graduating from military academy, and moved to Lakeland to work in the family business. He was young, ambitious, and seemed to have a good life. Fishing when he wasn't flying, dating casually but seriously focused on work. He lived alone in an apartment in Lakeland. The company itself was successful enough to be a multi-million-dollar operation, and Robert was the obvious heir. That made him valuable, and, as the family soon discovered, a target. The plan was simple. Robert would slowly learn the ropes until he was ready to replace his father. But Robert wasn't just an heir. He was passionate about aviation. Colleagues described him as someone who could see himself in the cockpit for life. His disappearance wasn't just a family tragedy. It threatened the entire future of the company. On April 2nd, 2008, at 5:59 p.m, Tom Wiles was in his Swanton, Ohio corporate office ready to leave for the day when an email popped up. The sender looked like his son Robert, maverick2836@gmail.com, but the contents were nothing like Robert. It was a ransom demand. The message warned that Robert was being held and would only be returned alive if Tom followed instructions exactly. Tell no one. Get $750,000 in small unmarked bills. Ship it to Lakeland, hidden inside a cardboard box addressed as confidential project materials for Robert. They gave a deadline of April 8th. No excuses, no authorities. We are watching everything. Signed, Group X. Robert had last been seen on April 1st at work. His car was still in the parking lot. This wasn't a prank. The strange thing was how businesslike the email sounded, like someone trying to mimic professionalism but failing. The number, $750,000, was oddly specific, not the kind of round figure typical kidnappers demand. The FBI immediately got involved despite the kidnapper's warning. $750,000 was an oddly specific figure. Tom had once paid that exact amount to buy out his ex-wife Pamela's share of the company. The company even had kidnap insurance, something rare enough to raise eyebrows. Investigators started looking at everyone close to Robert, from his family to disgruntled employees. Robert had fired a worker for drinking on the job and was reportedly frustrated with office politics. Was this someone with a grudge? A random kidnapper wouldn't know about the company's insurance or its financial history. This had to be someone close. Yet Group X sounded like either multiple people or a bad alias. The investigation became a maze of possibilities. Tips came in, including speculation Robert may have staged the whole thing. Some co-workers said he joked about faking his own kidnapping, though nothing suggested he was serious. Meanwhile, the family made public pleas, offering rewards and begging for Robert's safe return. Every lead seemed to open another dead end. The kidnappers wanted the money placed directly in Robert's office, a bizarre choice for a drop-off point. The FBI decided not to pay. Instead, they filled the luggage with coffee weighing the same as the cash and set up hidden cameras. Operations manager Toby Holt, described as trusted, was chosen to handle the drop. They waited. No one came. Silence. After April 8th, the kidnappers stopped contacting the Wiles family altogether. The family offered a $250,000 reward on television. Tips poured in, but Robert remained missing. Rumours surfaced he'd once joked about faking his own kidnapping, but there was no sign of him alive. For investigators, this was alarming. In real kidnappings, communication doesn't just stop after the deadline, it escalates. The silence suggested something far darker. Robert may have been dead from the very beginning. As investigators combed through Robert's phone records, they noticed calls and texts sent to Tom from Robert's phone after the disappearance. One was traced to a Florida turnpike. Police asked Tom to review footage from the area. He recognised one car, Toby Holt's. Holt had claimed he left the office around 6:15 p.m. on April 1st after seeing Robert in his office. He said he then went to Hooters, Outback Steakhouse, and later a hotel. None of that checked out. CCTV showed no Holt at the restaurants, but it did show him at Home Depot buying duct tape and plastic sheeting that night. His car and Robert's were the last two in the parking lot. Holt later changed his story about when he left. He also had a pattern of undermining Robert at work, hiring his own loyal staff, and even collecting negative observations about the boss's son. All of it painted a picture of a man with motive and opportunity. The FBI now had a suspect who wasn't just an employee, but someone Robert actively clashed with. To co-workers, their rivalry had been no secret. Holt wanted more control. Robert was standing in his way. In December 2009, Toby Holt was arrested in Orlando. He was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, extortion, and making written threats. There was no body, no blood, no physical proof. Holt denied everything, even as investigators produced phone data showing Robert's phone and Holt's phone travelling together after the disappearance. On the witness stand, Holt stayed calm, even smiling, as prosecutors laid out the circumstantial case. He was the last person seen with Robert. His alibis didn't match surveillance. He bought duct tape and plastic sheeting the night Robert vanished. He was deeply in debt and had conflicts with Robert over company contracts. The defense argued this was all office drama, not murder. Without a body, the case was a gamble. Jurors listened to weeks of evidence that relied entirely on circumstantial proof. In the end, they split the difference, unwilling to call it murder but unwilling to let Holt walk free. The jury compromised. They found Holt guilty of manslaughter and extortion, not murder or kidnapping. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. To this day, Holt maintains his innocence, insisting he never harmed Robert Wiles. Robert's body has never been found. His disappearance remains one of Florida's strangest unresolved crimes.
I did not participate in any kidnapping of Robert Wiles. I don't know anything about his disappearance. I'm not sure who was involved.
Toby, did you murder Robert Wiles?
Absolutely not. I did not murder Robert Wiles.
You did not harm him in any way?
Absolutely not. I had nothing absolutely against Robert Wiles or his family.
You are telling me that you are an innocent man wrongly accused of this crime?
The honest truth is there's no conclusive proof of anything.
Do you believe Robert Wiles could still be alive today?
I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it's probable.